WAOH is brought to you in part by Ohio's #1 trusted real estate team, The Young Team, online at theyoungteam.com. Welcome back as we continue our series putting the focus on the great work being done by the folks at Summit County Children's Services, and of course a great need in our community for foster families and those to help support the work of Summit County Children's Services. And our next guest in the studio is Amy, a foster care coordinator. And tell me a little bit about your work with Summit County Children's Services. What do you do your day-to-day? Give us a sense.
Day-to-day, okay. As being a foster care coordinator, I may have several home visits lined up to where I'm going out all over Summit County and some out of Summit County, visiting homes, making sure they're keeping up with safety requirements, checking in to see what they may need or how things are going with their placement.
Describe for us the bond or partnership that forms with Summit County Children's Services and the families that are serving through foster care work and caregiving work. There's a great partnership that forms.
Definitely. And Summit County is unique in that we're assigned, there's a couple of us coordinators, so we're assigned to a group of foster parents. And so we developed that relationship over the years. I haven't been in the program as a foster care coordinator but 3 years, but I have other coworkers who have been 20 plus years, and they have the same foster, the foster parents for those 20 years. And you do develop those relationships and you see them grow, their family, and it definitely works better if you have that relationship.
What does it take to be a part of Summit County Children's Services on the caseworker side, on the in people working in your role? And all of that, what are the characteristics, even generally speaking, to become a social worker?
Sure.
But to be a caseworker and to work with families that have stepped up to foster? What does it take to be that person? What characteristics does that person need?
Sure, you definitely have to learn to go with the flow, be flexible. You want to have patience and just an understanding, a humility to understand the family. You're going into somebody's home who's bringing in children to care for, and you want to be sensitive to what they need, how their family works, just so they can be successful with their parenting.
Explain to our audience just how much support there is for foster families. Sure. That you're coming in, you described a little bit of coming in to assess the household or kind of make sure they have everything, but really you're their support.
Right.
And describe that role in terms of somebody becomes a foster parent and takes on this role. There's a great deal of support from your organization.
Right. So I'm going out to a home at least quarterly. However, if they need, there's a certain issue going on, I can go out anytime during that 3 months. It doesn't have to just stay on that schedule. Staying in contact through texting, that's a big one.
Sure.
Even sometimes, over the weekend, if there's a certain question or, hey, what do I do if this comes up? You're not always on call, but you want to make yourself available. It helps make that foster family successful when they know they have someone they can reach out to. Telephone's always a good one. Email. We have support groups. There's a Facebook group for foster parents. We have our foster parent cafes that we recently started where they can go and meet other foster parents, discuss a certain topic, and there's some childcare there also that's offered. So that's supportive too, wanting foster parents to make connections with other foster parents.
Let's dispel the myth that if anybody watching this series is watching this interview and then they're thinking, wait a minute, so now I have somebody in my house, my life, quarterly evaluating my home. Mm-hmm. This is not an inspection. This is support for the families. Let's explain it that way.
Correct. Yeah. They understand what I'm coming out to look at each month, and it's a scheduled visit. I'm just not popping out.
Sure.
So I am scheduling it with them according to when they're available, when their family's available. And they know I'm going out there to make sure that they're staying on track with their license. And if they need help trying to find something in the community, or if they don't understand really what's going on with the case itself, I can be that sounding board for them and explain more, because the main caseworker doesn't always have the time to sit with them and explain everything.
Really, there's probably a lot of parents out there that would be thankful to have support, talk maybe even about respite care and the village of other foster families, that when you're coming out, you're there to support. And that's part of being a foster parent, is being able to use all the resources and services available from your organization. Talk for a second about respite care and the village that forms.
Sure. Respite, I find the foster parents most successful when they can build those connections face to face, and they have those respite people that they can call. A lot of families go on vacation during the spring breaks. Some take children, some don't. So, they need to have that respite. Or they have really challenging kids that have a lot of needs and they need, a week break or even a weekend. If they have those people that they can call and say, hey, can you watch, so-and-so just this weekend, and then they have that break, it just works a lot better, a lot more support for everybody.
Speak for a second personally about what you love about the work you're doing, about your job is rewarding.
Sure.
And you've been at it 22 years. And what do you love about your job?
So just having those connections with the kids, with the foster parents, when I love seeing foster parents that can work with the biological family, and that makes the case usually successful and better for the children, so that they can be happy at foster parents' house and they can be happy when they see their biological family too. That's most rewarding.
Any advice as we wrap up that you would give to anyone watching this that might consider fostering, looking into fostering? What advice do you give to somebody as they would begin to inquire about being a foster parent?
Yeah, I would say ask your questions. It's not, we think out of the box a lot. So don't be afraid that you have to be in the box. You have to meet certain criteria. We try to think out of the box and work around people's schedule. You do have certain things you have to, meet state requirements. But other than that, you can be single, you can be married, you can be not married. We just would love to have you on our team.
I'll leave us with this final question. What do the kids that are in need really want? What do they need?
They just need a consistency, someone to show up each day and that they can count on and be there for them.
We don't have to be perfect.
Nope.
We just have to have the desire to be there for a child in need.
Correct.
It's a good way to wrap it up. Thank you for sharing and being with us. And thank you for watching. As we've discussed in this series, there is a great need here in Akron and Summit County for foster parents and those to step up and support kids in need and support Summit County Children's Services. And if you feel inspired, hopefully by watching some of these segments, we encourage you to look into fostering at summitkids.org and take advantage of some of the classes and learning opportunities that exist. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.